Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Cameron, and if you've been watching my videos up till now, you'll know that the kind of videos I've been doing are all about kind of yourself and how to get the most out of yourself and the way that you do things, and I guess in a way the way that you think as well. Now going forwards, I want to start to include some more videos to do with the other interesting areas of my life that I've maybe not quite broached in this channel yet, things like my magic and performing and speaking and things like that as well. But for now I do want to focus on some topics that really mean a lot to me and just share my thoughts and my way of thinking and doing things in the hope that it'll maybe help a few people out there as well. It's going to be things like how to stay disciplined, how to stay healthy in both kind of mind and in body, and just how to get the most out of yourself on a kind of day-to-day basis. I'm really hoping that this channel kind of grows and develops along with me. So it'd be amazing to see some of you join me on that journey. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if this kind of video, if this kind of topic is the kind of thing that butters your muffin. Butters your muffin? I have no idea why I said that. What am I talking about? Anyway, you get the idea. Just hit the subscribe button. So I think it's no secret that a lot is changing at the moment. Every single day we're all getting new updates from the leaders of the world telling us of all the massive changes that are happening every single day around us. I'm constantly seeing things about this idea of a new normal that we're all going to be kind of forced to adapt to and to embrace that kind of massive change in our lifestyles going forward. And honestly, even before all this, modern technology and advancements on the way that we understand the universe have been changing so rapidly in the past few years that they've kind of forced us to change and to adapt with them. I think for me, if there's one thing I've taken from talking to loads of people at the moment during this lockdown, it's that I'm definitely not alone in feeling like things are changing at a rapid rate right now, and maybe letting that get to me a little bit too. So I wanted to share with all of you the way that I've decided to look at change and how it's helped me really adapt to the situations that we're in at the moment, and it's really helped me come to terms with change and deal with it in a really positive way. This way has kind of helped me stop fearing change, and even arguably helped me to kind of look forward to it a little bit even. Now obviously this is with a bit of a specific look at kind of what's going on at the moment, but really this can be applied to any changes in your life, whether you're going through a change in relationships, in jobs, in family, in any sort of place in your life where a change might be occurring. This way of thinking can really help. Now I think if we boil it down to the basics, people don't like change. People really don't like change. We like the things that are familiar to us, the things that are normal to us, the things that we are used to. Because I think the trouble with change is that it's almost always accompanied by loss. I mean, I think it kind of has to be, right? If you think about it, when things change, you have to lose something in order to gain something else, or new things, or just the next thing. So really it's kind of no wonder that people shy away from change, because nobody likes to lose what they have, right? We're all kind of programmed to hold on to the things that we have at the moment at all costs, to keep the things that we have close to our chests. Whether it's like material things, whether it's money, people, relationships, just whatever, we don't want to lose the things that we have. I think if you think about why we have this mindset and why we think like this as human beings, I think you can maybe rewind it back to a kind of survival instinct. It's to keep us alive, it's to keep us happy and secure and safe, because we hold on to the resources and the things that we have, the things that we find comfortable. But we all know that this way of thinking doesn't necessarily help us. Now, another phrase that I hear all the time when I talk to people about the idea of change is the phrase that the only thing that's certain is that nothing is certain. I've heard like a million different versions of this phrase too, things like the only thing that's permanent is impermanence, things like the only thing that is constant is change, but really they all just mean the same thing. And when I was younger, I used to hate when people said this to me. Hearing phrases like this made me feel powerless, made me feel helpless. It made me feel like I had no ability to control my choices and the things that happened to me. And honestly, it used to drive me crazy. However, as I've thought about it more and as I've grown a little bit older, I've kind of learned that this is kind of the point. You can view this lack of control of change as a negative, the fact that we can't choose the things that change around us all the time. as a bad thing. Or you can kind of flip it around on yourself a little bit. You can use that to your advantage. I think it kind of goes without saying that change is everywhere. It's all around us and it's happening all the time. Of course it is, it's just a part of life. Now I have said this before, but ultimately the only thing that we individuals can control is our actions and our reactions to the things that happen to us in the world. Other than that, we have no control. The idea of impermanence outside of ourselves, outside of our own bodies, is just a fact. The law of impermanence says that every single thing that you have, every single thing that you have had in the past, and every single thing that you will have in the future will come to an end at some point. Think about it. The job or the employment you have right now, it'll end at some point. Either you'll choose to move on, either someone will move you on for you, or you'll retire, or that company will cease to exist, but in some way that will end. Every relationship that you have at the moment at some point will end. Either you'll just go your separate ways, or unfortunately one of you or both of you will die. Not exactly the most cheery thought, but it is a fact. I think that understanding this idea of a law of impermanence, while can sometimes be a little bit scary, for me is the key to really understanding how we think about change. At very least, when we understand this, we can kind of like set ourselves up to play the game. We know the rules, we know what's gonna happen, we know the deal. And I think this is what prepares us for the changes that inevitably are gonna happen to us all. Human beings, I think, as a race, have this kind of fear of change. I think it really comes from that kind of deep-seated fear of the unknown, of uncertainty, of not knowing that what's coming next. And I think this is kind of what kind of holds us back from enjoying the change and embracing it and seeing it as an opportunity to do new, different, exciting things. Coincidentally, I've been watching a lot of Star Wars the past few days in lockdown. As you're slowly discovering from my videos, I am in fact a geek. About 2 days ago I was watching Revenge of the Sith, by far my favourite one of the prequels, don't at me, and something really interesting happened in that film that I thought really reflected on the kind of thing that I'm talking about here. I heard a really fitting piece of advice when it comes to fearing change, and I guess fearing the unknown as well, which came from Master Yoda. Now, Yoda's sitting talking to Anakin Skywalker, and they're discussing the fears that Anakin has about the future and how things are going to change, and maybe not for the better for him. Yoda then offers this piece of wisdom. He asks Anakin to train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. I think the idea of letting go of everything you fear to lose doesn't sound particularly exciting. It sounds like you're just gonna be a kind of lone wolf and not take other people and other things into consideration when you make your choices. But I think it's more than that. I think what he's kind of getting at is that you need to train yourself to not rely so much on things outside yourself. Be independent, stand up on your own, and that lets you kind of be a bit more free to enjoy the other things around you. And if one of them changes, that's great. You weren't relying on it anyway. You weren't trusting that that's going to prop you up. And I think this is an important thing with change. We can't be reliant on things too much because inevitably they will change. And if we've set ourselves up to not embrace that change and not be ready for that change, that's when it starts to have a negative effect. I think the real takeaway here is that as individuals, we need to learn to not be afraid of change. We need to look at change as a good thing. Look for the positives, the amazing things, the opportunities to do things differently that always come along with a change. Where there's change, there's always opportunity to do better. There's always opportunity to improve, to move forward. And that's a good thing. Now, over time, if you learn to look for these opportunities and change, then in my experience, you kind of go from maybe fearing change and being a bit worried about change to actually kind of looking forward to it. You actually even start to maybe enjoy the change a little bit. But understanding that change is going to happen with or without you is the foundation to getting there. Spring always comes after winter. There's no getting around that. You need to go through winter to get to spring and to get to summer as well. The winter isn't always fun. In fact, sometimes it's miserable, it's bleak, it's cold, it's dark, it's wet. But it will end eventually, and I think it's what you do after it ends, when you get to spring, and even what you do between now and then, that really governs how you view changes. If you're still unconvinced, I have some absolute categorical proof that will prove to you that change is a good thing. Give me 2 seconds. Got it. So, absolute proof that change is a good thing. Here is my 17-year-old driver's license. Got it to focus. It's me, 17 years old. Trust me, change is a good thing. Now, there's a phrase that I absolutely love, and I guess it's been a bit of a mantra for me in times when things maybe aren't going my way, when things are changing in a way that I'm not sure about. And that phrase is, "This too shall pass." For me, this is such a powerful 4 words. What it means is that whatever bad's happening right now, whatever uncertainty there is right now, that will pass. But I think this phrase has such an amazing balance to it, because it also means that some of the good things are gonna pass too. Everything moves on, everything changes. It's a fact of life, it's a fact of the world that we live in. And that balance between the 2 halves of this phrase, it relies on that idea of constant change, and it relies on you just embracing it. So in this time of extreme and seemingly endless change, just remember that this too shall pass.